and welcome to another exciting episode of Garden City Diary. I am Sophie Black. A few weeks ago, we were privileged to join the sit-out of Chief Dumo at the Port Harcourt Sports Club. As Chief Dumo will be turning 70 years by September, he had planned a sit-out where he celebrated, wined and chatted with friends and colleagues who had supported and worked with him in his life and in the music industry over the years. He had called a similar sit-out to mark his book memorial anniversary, which was also held on the 30th of June 2016. The occasion was graced with the presence of many dignitaries, amongst whom are some notable members of the Port Harcourt Sports Club and high mighty in business, government, politics, and also in the music industry. Some of the many in attendance was OCJ Okocha, a senior advocate of Nigeria, who had been his childhood friend.
I've known Chief Dumo since the early 70s. I believe we met in 1973 while we were at Baptist High School, Port Harcourt. And thereafter we met again when we were in the university. He at the University of Ibadan and I at the University of Ife.
Honorable Brown Karabo Long John, a politician who had performed with him during his stage play.
My name is Honorable Brown Karabo Long John. Politician, I'm a musician. I met Chief Dumo in the year 1996.
Mr. AGK Okorafor, a renowned music producer who worked with him on a lot of his projects.
He is a legend, but unfortunately, some people don't understand the kind of music he plays. That's why we want to do enough publicity to let people know that this kind of music still exists. There are people who are out there who are looking for this kind of music to listen to, but somehow they don't know that it still exists.
Honorable I.T. Williams JP, his music editor, and many others too numerous to mention. Chief Dumo during the occasion had welcomed most of his guests warmly, personally shaking hands with them and interacting with them, also making them feel comfortable. The event started with greetings from Chief Dumo and was later followed with discussion about Chief Dumo's youthful days as he joked and interacted with his guests. He also discussed about his day working for the NNPC as he and his friend drank to his achievement. He talked and joked with his guests while different dishes were served, and he also made sure his guests were served to their satisfaction with warm reception. Pictures were taken with him as he invited friends to join him. While the photo section was on, he discovered it was OCJ Okocha San's birthday the day before. And also used the opportunity to toast and celebrate with him as well. Our crew also took time to chat with some of the invited guests and also some who came for the meeting and came for the very first time to meet with him face to face.
It's a character of his own. You just need to know him, and if you're meeting him for the first time, before you say that promising, you know everything about him. He's kept us very busy for the past 3 hours to be here. This Dumo is a serious character, and he's a likable person. We love him, and we believe that I've heard of him for today, and he too has that, but we are meeting for the first time today, and it was as if we have known ourselves for the past 10 years or more. Yes, so that's the kind of person he is.
OCJ Okocha was interviewed as he told us how he had met Chip, how they graduated, his work life, and also his music career.
My name is OCJ Okocha. I am a lawyer, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and I'm here in Port Harcourt practicing law. I've known Chief Dumo since the early 70s. I believe we met in 1973 while we were at Baptist High School, Port Harcourt, and thereafter we met again when we were in the university. He at the University of Ibadan and I at the University of Ife. And then after we graduated, both of us met again in Maiduguri, Borno State, where we went to do the National Youth Service call up as part of our development as young men in Nigeria. So I've known him for over 40, 50 years. Well, the little I know is that Dumo is a serious man. He takes his engagement seriously. He plays hard, he works hard. And I came to know all this while we were doing national service in Maiduguri in Borno State. Of course, he went on to work for the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, and he rose to the management level. And later became a very active member of the Nigerian Institution of Public Relations. He veered off into entertainment and began to sing high life music. He produced 1 or 2 or 3 albums. His most famous song is Fine Boy Money No Day.
Wusai.
Wusai. It was like telling those of us who are fine boys, if you don't have money, don't hope that any woman will be loyal to you. Don't be so. So that is my friend Dumo for you.
So what can you say about his musical career?
Well, as I said, he, after explosion, high life music tended to die in these parts. In the old Eastern region, we knew Rex Lawson, we knew January, we also knew a few in Lagos called Ike Dairo and Victor Laya. But Rex Lawson, Cardinal Jim Rex Lawson, was perhaps the greatest purveyor. Rex Lawson was perhaps the greatest purveyor of high life music in Nigeria. And Dumo, a few years ago, started producing high life tunes and ended up becoming famous as a music producer. I hope I've been seen, recorded, because Dumo himself has been interrupting the filming of this interview. The thing with him is a very restless character. He can never sit still in one place. And I used to call him German Oyibo. He's of the famous German technology. They were oppressors of the Jews, but they are known for efficiency.
Thank you very much.
So Dumo is a German chief, just as he is a traditional ruler in his native community, Ogurama, otherwise known as Old Bakana.
Wonderful. All right. I give you full marks.
He also took the time to encourage Nigerian youth to study and get quality education.
You know, when we were growing up as young men, first thing we learned was to take our education seriously. Get a university degree, and then that is your stepping stone to greatness. But many of us fell by the wayside. I was tempted to also follow them, because all I wanted to do was to work immediately after I finished my secondary education. And within 10 days of leaving secondary school, I had a job as a clerical assistant on level 4, earning 33 naira, 1972, 33 naira, and I considered myself independent. Of course, I wasn't paying house rent, and it was financial, independence. I could go and invite a girl to follow me to Copacabana for not nightclub, Sunday jump on Agri Road, Sunday jump. That was what I started as a clerical assistant level 4 in the Internal Revenue Division of the Ministry of Finance of Rivers State. So I want our young boys, our young girls to focus on their education. Sadly, the university career these days is becoming a bit testy. My sons, my children's classmates did 7 years in Nigerian universities to get a first degree. When we went to university, 4 years, you were finished and done. Young people, young boys, young girls, focus on their education. And you don't have to have a university degree. You can go to a polytechnic, you can go to a technical school, learn a trade. You can go to the College of Education if you want to be a teacher or you want to follow that line. But get an education. Without an education, it will be difficult for you to get a job other than menial jobs. And I can't see a human being going to do menial jobs, become a houseboy, become a house girl. There's nothing wrong, but any house girl or houseboy I've trained him or her. My first houseboy, I trained him as a driver. He didn't want to work as a driver. He continued coming to serve me in my house. And whenever my wife traveled, he would come and look after me in the house. My father brought me that boy as a houseboy because he was working in Airy Joy Hotel. And my father saw that he was a good, dutiful servant. So young boys, young girls, learn in the university, get a degree. Degree is the basic minimum. But if you do not want to go to the academic world, have a trade, an artisanal trade that will help you to set up some business, vulcanizer, welder, you follow, and then earn your own living.
We also interviewed Honorable I.T. Williams, who expressed his likeness for Chief Dumo's lifestyle and jovial character. He concluded with an advice to the youth to follow the footsteps and lifestyle of Chief Dumo. Mr. AGK Okorafor, while chatting with our crew, said he had been Chief's music producer for a while now. He spoke about his cordial relationship with Chief and how he has also wished him a happy birthday in advance.
A deviation, a shift from what obtains everywhere. He is a legend, but unfortunately, some people don't understand the kind of music he plays. That's why we want to do enough publicity to let people know that this kind of music still exists. There are people who are out there who are looking for this kind of music to listen to, but somehow they don't know that it still exists. I don't have any problem with them playing hip hop. Even some of the hip hop they are playing, they are inculcating high life into the hip hop. So I don't have any problem with that. But let them have good content. If they have good content, that's fine. I would like to wish him a happy birthday in advance. Chief will be turning 70 by September, and so he deems it fit to call people, friends, to come and sit out with him and chat, sip drinks and then relax with him. So I want to wish him a happy birthday in advance. I also encourage people to make friends, keep friends, have friends. He is doing this now. It's not as if he's the richest person around here. But he wants to sit around with friends and celebrate with them. And it's good.
Other Mrs. Patience Gonto, who also came out to sit out with Chief, she spoke of Chief's nice nature and his open heart. She also encouraged you to follow Chief's footsteps.
Happy birthday in advance, and we thank God for his life, for his health, and he's kind of person, and he's somebody that is very generous. He has passion in giving. That he should continue with this kind of lifestyle. We appreciate him and we love him. What I would say to other young people, those that have opportunity to reach out to him, they should try as much as they can come around him all the time. So just as I said earlier, he's so knowledgeable in a lot of areas. He advises you, like I want to also be an author. I've met him and he has been able to give me some books to go through. He has also explained to me about being an author, how to prepare myself, how to publish. He has a lot of books, international books that he has been publishing. And I also want to be an international author that publish my articles and my books outside my field. Because I'm also a lecturer. Then he has also advised me on what to do and how to get by in what I'm working on. So I advise most youth that can have opportunity to meet with him. A lot of people might not have opportunity to meet with him one-on-one, but if they have the privilege, just as we have, they should like that maximize it. Then again, for young people out there, you have to know what you must. It's just like knowing the beginning, the end from the beginning. You have to know where you're going to, so that you can put tenacious effort to work towards it. You have to ask questions. You don't need to keep quiet and walk alone. There's no shame about asking questions. You could ask A could turn you down, but that does not mean you should stop. You should move further, keep on making inquiry. Making inquiry is also part of learning. It's also part of education. You get to socialize with people. You get to know how people behave. You get to understand people's sensibility. But you should keep on pressing, because consistency is the only thing that takes you to where you desire to be.
As we sat down with Honorable Brown Caribou, who is a politician and Himboku Chief, as a keyboardist and as a backup singer, he had described Chief as a great man. He also appraised Chief's music career, calling him a legend, and also hailed him in his local dialect, Calabari.
In the year 1996, when I was the keyboardist to RSM Band, and Chief was a friend to late Marshal RSM. And there was this event that he was supposed to play, and he came and played with us. After then, he invited us to his mother's burial, which we all went and we played together. And after then, we started working together. Okay, but let me cut a very long story short. Recently, we met again. He called me through my friend HK that he wanted a professional touch on one of his track. And what was the track? That track was a Hallelujah that he just played just now. Okay, and I said, who am I to say no to Chief? So I went to the studio and I produced that track. Okay, but keep that aside. Chief has been a very good man, despite I am not one of those that will always come to burial to say every good thing about a particular, despite he's a quick-tempered person. But outside that, he will always call you again, okay? And you guys will laugh together, you know, and do everything together again, okay? He's a very good man. When I mean a very good man, he's somebody that will always call you and will say, Imbre, in our language. Why are you running away from me? Okay? And in my kind man, I will tell him, no, na money man define, no verse. What am I trying to say? If you have the type of chief, okay, like 1, 2, 3 in Calamari land, then Restlosson will never die. If you have chief, as in his types, 1, 2, 3, Restlosson will not die. When I was growing up as a child, I met my dad playing Chief Dumo records. That's where we learned Fine Boy Montino Day and the other songs. Today I play them on stage, I sing them on stage. Okay? Kudos to Chief. I'm ready to celebrate him anytime, any day, any moment. Because just as I've said before on my Facebook page, he's a legend. He's the only one remaining in Calamari land that is keeping high life up till date. Okay? So as a Calamari son, I will continue to produce him whenever I'm chance to produce him. I will continue to work with him. He's a good man. He's a good man. If I see him one-on-one. No, I will tell him my language. I will tell him like, Chief, okay? There is me pray. Nueme and su troko mu. Su troko mu. That's what I will tell him. Now what am I trying to say? What I'm saying is this. As a chief, God bless you. Thank you so much for what you've done for Calamari land. Continue to sing I Life. Continue to sing I Life. Continue to sing I Life. God bless you. My name is Honorable Brown Karibo Longjohn.
After speaking with Honorable Brown Karibo, we also had a quick chat with Mr. John Fuji, a lead guitarist and a music producer. He had also worked with Chief, had this to say.
My name is John Fuji, a lead guitarist and a producer too. I met Chief about 6 years ago. I worked for him during that period and come to know him. He's a kind of passionate musician, a no-nonsense man. And I also understood that he's a prolific writer. He's a good man. He's a good man, and he's a no-nonsense man, and always work with time. So he's a very good mentor too. I've learned to be myself in any condition I find myself, and the kind of mentality he has concerning readings, it helps me a lot, even in building my own reading altogether. He's a kind that inspires me. He's the type that inspires me musically. So I've learned a lot from him since I've started working with him. I wish Chief lovely life, prosperity, and everything that is good for him. I wish him all well. come his birthday. My name is John Fuji, as I said earlier, a lead guitarist and a producer too.
This to say, Chief is a no-nonsense man and is very passionate about his project. A good man and also a man who is always time conscious. And he concluded in his quote by wishing Chief a happy birthday in advance. Further, we interviewed Miss Rose Stephen Awele, who is an actress, a producer, and also a musician.
Yeah, my name is Rose Stephen Awele. I'm a producer, also a scriptwriter.
She had described him as a very good man with some temperament, but yet very humble. And she encouraged youths to try and learn to be humble and also wish Chief a happy birthday in advance. Finally, before sitting down with the Chief himself, we talked with the legendary Lexi M, who is a producer, musician, and many other hats. He started off by saying,
He's a wonderful fellow. I am privileged to work with him as a very little boy, backup singer. To play with him on same stage, now that I'm this big. And I can make bold to say that one or two of the songs, I have my hands on the keyboard on them. Nice man. You see this everywhere I go to, not to say this. Creativity is one thing. Mentorship is another thing. Ability is supreme. And the only way you can learn from people who are older than you is to show humility. There are things that this elderly wants to know in the industry they cannot find on Google. It is how calm, patient, and loyal you are that will make them tell you these things with so much love from their end. And I always tell them, I always need to tell them that the more you serve, the more you learn. A lot of them did not serve, no mentorship, you're just privileged to be there. And again, if you see such persons, you also notice that they get there so fast and they fall so quickly. If you get to limelight, one thing is to stay there. This man are evergreen. Chief Dumo Rumble is evergreen. The songs he sings are just there. You can erase them because he sings for tomorrow. I like to wish him a happy birthday in advance. And I want to pray that God keeps him longer than necessary because we're still learning from him.
I have known and worked with Chief since my boyhood days. He described Chief as a good and great man who is passionate about people and as well as music. We then finally have a few minutes standout with Chief himself, Chief Dumo Orobo, the celebrant, who introduced himself and gave us a brief summary of his birthday down to his present day age. He advised the youth to leave social media and focus on education. He urged youth to be humble, stating that education is the only way to success.
My name is Chief Dumo Kaiser Johnny Oru Abo or Oru Feniobo. I was born many years ago in Calabari as a kingdom in Rivers State on September 22, 1952. This was after 4 excruciating days of my mother giving birth to me in 4 days instead of in 1 day. So I was called Dumo by default in Igbo, Ndo, that I have come to live. Otherwise, after 1 day or 2 days, I would have been dead. Then I went to Baptist Day School, Old Bakana, my primary school between 1958 and 1965. In 1966, I went to 16 Grammar School in Ozobolo, in present-day Anambra State. The following year, 1967, we were asked to go home for 2 weeks to come back. We did not know the Nigeria Civil War was coming, so I didn't have the chance of going back there. we came back to Port Harcourt to start what they call rehabilitation school at Government Comprehensive Secondary School in Borikiri, Port Harcourt in 1968, where I met a lot of my friends. The following year, my uncle, Elder Dixon Urobo, was not comfortable with the friends I had made there. He pulled me out from Government Comprehensive, put me in Country Grammar School in Kweriche, which was existing in exile at Stella Maris compound on Harbour Road, Port Harcourt. In 1971, I wrote my West African School Certificate exam. I got grade 2 and went to Baptist High School in 1972, and in 1973 wrote my higher school certificate exam. That was where I met OCJ. He came to meet me in 1973 in lower 6th form. The following year, 1974, which was a very important year for me, I went to work for the Rivers State Ministry of Information and Home Affairs, who transferred me to Degema as Divisional Information Officer for Calabari Division, where I cut my journalism teeth as a journalist. I talked to a magistrate, Mr. F.F. Tabai, who became judge of a high court, who became judge of an appeal court, who became judge of the Supreme Court, where he retired from. And in 1978, I graduated from the University of Ibadan after wrecking the place as Students' Union Public Relations Officer. Then I worked for Radio Rivers for nearly 2.5 years. I caught the attention of the governor then, Governor Melford Obene Okilo, who wanted me to come back 2 days after I resigned. I did not, but brought me back by setting up a bureau of 5 persons to talk about current affairs and news analysis. I left in 1981 to go and work for the NNPC in Lagos. NNPC, which I worked for 26 years. During this period, my high point, I became appointed as press secretary to the Minister of Petroleum and Energy in 1985, Professor Sam David West. Later, I was transferred to Port Harcourt to be manager of public affairs at Elime Petrochemicals Company for 9 years. Then 1.5 years at the Port Harcourt Refining Company Limited. And then between 2001 and 2006, manager public affairs, integrated data services in Benin. And I did 1.5 years at the corporate headquarters in Abuja as community relations manager, where I acted for the boss of the community of the group public affairs division for at least 11 times, taking pivotal decisions, and retired after I represented the head of the division in South Africa at trade fairs in Enugu and represented NNPC in Portugal in 1999, where I was spokesperson for Nigeria on Nigeria's Day. So I see myself as a special child of God's because I feel my life is full of achievements and I'm grateful to God Almighty. What we are doing here is me calling my friends who helped me in the music frontier to share a drink with me on June the 30th, which is important. I'm just remembering. June 30th, 2016 was when I launched 3 books that I wrote for the first time. Now, this is like a dress rehearsal for my 70th birthday. Platinum Jubilee celebration on September 22nd, 2022, where I'm inviting my friends to join me on that day. Not on that day they hear that I'm inviting them. I'm sensitizing them. And I was very happy when my friend and colleague, Chief OCJ Okocha, who was 1 year my junior in higher school, and who I am nearly 2 years older than, said he wants to be part of it. And he and his friends decorated me on this occasion even more than I planned. May God continue to bless him. And as he blesses him, may God continue to bless me even more, that we will continue to glorify him in Jesus' name. Amen. The young people, they should leave Facebook. They should listen to their mothers and fathers and their elders and do what those people ask. Facebook will mislead them. That's what I want to tell them. They should face their books, not Facebook. They should face their books. They should study, get university degrees, become engineers, become computer experts, become photography experts, and pull their weight. Don't spend all their time in the night, in the day on Facebook or like or dislike. No, they should read and catch a niche for themselves. That's my message to them. They should leave area boyism or area girlism. That will lead them to sudden destruction.
What do you also have to say to young artists?
Young artists,
People who aspire to become authors and a musician like you.
they should take the first steps. Those who want to be authors, they should read what other people have written. I read Wole Soyinka, I read Chinua Achebe, I read Ngugi wa Thiong'o, I read Thomas Hardy, I read William Shakespeare, I read Thomas Paine, I read D.H. Lawrence, I read why. You have to read to know what other people have done before so that you can catch your own, make your own path from that place. Those who want to be singers, they should listen to singers of old in order to get their bearing right and not to sing nonsense. Jaga, 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 jaga. No, you must belong to a given genre. We call it genre, G-E-N-R-E, so that you can carve your own niche.
And as the occasion draws to an end, Chief Dumo showed gratitude towards his guests for honoring his invitation as he walked most of them out of the venue. But this is not all, as we'll still have some more quiet time with Chief at the new Down Studios right here in Port Harcourt. So please join us in a part 2 in our next episode as we bring more time with Chief. Stay tuned for more. I remain Sophie Black.